Welcome into The Future is Female. Gabby Ducharme here with my co-host Nicole Pinter. We have a very special guest today, Coach Herm Edwards. Coach, thank you so much for making the time to sit down with us.
It's my pleasure.
We have a very special guest. ESPN reporter is at the Cronkite School. Her name is Sarah Spain. Sarah, welcome to The Future is Female. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Gabrielle Ducharme joined here post-game with senior guard Robbie Ryan. Robbie, huge matchup today against Cal Berkeley. What was going through your mind, though, as that time was finally winding down?
Just like disappointment. We had a lead and we let them come back.
Welcome back, episode 3 of Beyond the Rings. I'm joined here by Pac-12 broadcaster Kate Scott. Kate, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Gabrielle.
I mean, you talk about how important knowledge is, but what about your relationship with your players and your fellow coaches? Obviously, it was 30, 40 years ago when you started coaching. How has that changed?
Well, it hasn't changed. It's about trust.
You've been all across the country. What do you think your favorite thing, or like your favorite place that you've been? Like, what was your favorite thing that you did there?
Yeah. So one thing I always tell people is to go and be somewhere different.
To just about 1 month ago. It was March 11th that really the world kind of started shutting down, but March 8th, 2020, International Women's Day. Can you just describe what happened that day and why it was so significant?
It's crazy to think it's only been a month. It feels like 3 years ago at this point. So that day was significant because I woke up in Chicago and got to be a part of the first all-female NHL broadcast in the United States.
You mentioned it being a little bit disappointing, but what's your mindset going into the NCAA tournament?
Can't hang our heads.
What are your takeaways on their defensive effort?
Yeah, their defensive effort was nothing but perfection in the second half. Charlie Turner-Thorne did come out and say that they wanted to play fast and that they wanted their defense to fuel their offense. That's exactly what happened, Alex, as they really did get out on the break. They forced Air Force to make really silly mistakes. Kiara Russell, Sydney Caldwell really leading the way on that defensive effort for the Sun Devils in the second half, which allowed them to crack open that game and have a huge victory. So you've seen Herm Edwards, the football coach. You've seen Herm Edwards, the broadcaster. This first tweet, though, shows Herm Edwards, the college football player at the University of California, Berkeley. You look at that, you really see Herm in his very best light back in the 1970s.
Wow.
So my question to the two of you, what's your favorite Herm? Herm the coach? Herm the broadcaster?
There's so many.
Herm the player?
Yeah, that's a great question, but
Well, I mean, Arizona State was down by as many as 18 points in this ball game. With only 8 minutes, 6 seconds to go, Arizona State went on a tear and went on a 20-0 run to end up coming back to win this game 60-58. One of the biggest comebacks in ASU women's basketball history, and it was quite the journey to watch it all unfold here at Wells Fargo.
This is Army on Sunday. What can we expect in that game and going forward for this team?
What we can really expect is a team that is going to allow their defense to fuel their offense. Charlie Turner-Thorne talked about it after the game, that they really want to be a confident team that allows themselves to wear their opponents down. They want to get out on the break, they want to run fast, and they want to allow their defense to handle all of that. Not only against Air Force did they do that tonight, but they will do it on Sunday against Army, and you can expect them to continue doing that because they are a smaller lineup against Pac-12 teams come January and February. We got the birthday boy, we've got the anchor man. Really, really fun time for both of you. Guys, we got one more tweet, of course.
Let's hear it.
This one, really, really cute. This is a photo of a puppy. Now, this dog from ASU fan Tom Murray, this dog is all decked out in his ASU gear. And of course, I gotta ask both of you, what are your two favorite photos of your puppies?
well, this is Wyatt right here.
Well, you're talking about big expectations for a team that went to the Sweet 16 last season. Now, this team is expected to probably be in the top 20. They're ranked right now with four other Pac-12 schools ahead of them. But going into the NCAA tournament, going into Pac-12 play, you're looking at them probably finishing in the semifinals of the Pac-12 tournament and then finishing in either the round of 32 or the Sweet 16 this season. From the sideline.
As Plagano dribbles it past half court. She fakes out the pass. She tries to pass it off, but Kia Easton intercepts it. Another jump ball right there. Possession will return to Alberta. Delaney Gibb now driving. Shovel pass back. Gibb tries another three-pointer, and this one connects. Just like that, Delaney Gibb knocks it down. She's now got 13 points on the afternoon. Another turnover right there. Hustling. There's Abby Graves once again. Kia Easton now with the ball. Maya Flindle trailing. And Easton is met by the PEI defender. That is number 15, Amy Plagano. Plagano picks up the charge. Easton is charged with the foul. Checking into the game for PEI is number 8, Cassidy Hurley. Easton with the kick ball. PEI will take it out of bounds. Deep three right there, just off the mark. Gibb now dribbling it up past half court. Gibb off to Easton. Easton drives hard on PEI and she knocks it down. Easton now has 5 points, 2 boards on the afternoon. Current score stands as 54-43. Prince Edward Island has gone cold from the offensive end. Alberta taking over this ball game. Like I said, a game of runs. Alberta was up 10 in the first half, Prince Edward Island up 10 in the first half. Alberta now up 11, and that'll take us to a timeout. Absolutely incredible second half thus far. Delaney Gibb has taken over, 13 points, 4 rebounds, about 6 assists. Really, really talented guard play on behalf of Alberta. Strong guard play as well on behalf of Prince Edward Island, a shorter team outside of Abby McDonald. These two teams, both coming off heartbreaking losses yesterday, absolutely battling it out. Currently, Alberta is shooting 48% from the field. Prince Edward Island about 35% from the field. Rebound-wise, Alberta out-rebounding them by 7, 32-25. Dara McCabe is still leading all rebounders with 7. Not a very big player, but a scrappy, strong player. Does what it takes to get her team to victory. We're coming back right now. We're in the third quarter of this wonderful ball game between Alberta and Prince Edward Island. It's a minute 25 to go till the fourth quarter. 11-point lead currently for Alberta, 54-43. Prince Edward Island to take it out underneath their own basket. Driving it down low. Just off the mark. Delaney Gibb hustling down the floor. Pass is intercepted by Katie DeVito. Ball ends up out of bounds and will be in possession of Prince Edward Island. Nice defense right there by Katie DeVito. Getting in that passing lane. Her defense, I feel like, has been underrated throughout this tournament as Prince Edward Island turns it over. But Vedito, it always seems, is guarding the best players on the court. She's stepping up for her team, doing what it takes to get the victory. Caitlin Ferrier now with the ball. An up and under move. It's just off the mark, but she gets her own rebound. Flindall, fake pass to Ferrier. Now looking, fakes off the handoff, drives just off the mark on the layup. As number 11, Paige McLean, gets the strong rebound right there for PEI. PEI to take it out of bounds underneath the basket. As a foul is called on Alberta. Prince Edward Island will resume once again underneath the basket. That foul is the 5th personal foul for Alberta. Referee has blown the whistle because the shooter, or the person the foul was called on, that was their 5th personal. So now the shooter will go to the free throw line. Referees most likely didn't realize how many fouls Alberta had against them. First shot is up, and it is just off the mark. Second shot is up. Flanks off the back rim, and then it falls in. That was number 8, Cassidy Hurley, going 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Delaney Gibb driving hard down the middle. She goes coast to coast. Her shot is just off the mark. Tries to save it, but there's Cassidy Hurley, catching it strong. Amy Plagano now driving hard down the lane. Tries to pass it to Lawler, but it's intercepted by Graves. Barrier now with the ball, driving coast to coast. She goes up strong and knocks in the 2-point layup, nothing but net. And that brings us to the end of the 3rd quarter of action between Alberta and Prince Edward Island. It's currently 56-44. End of the 3rd quarter. Alberta with
saying multiple times now that you now have 2 big dreams in your career. One is to call a World Cup soccer game, and the other is, you just mentioned it again, to broadcast in Olympic Games.
Mm-hmm.
How did that hockey game on International Women's Day help fuel that dream of possibly broadcasting the Olympic Games?
Yeah. Well, to use the fire analogy, I think it was kind of the embers were already there, kind of the end of a fire, right?
The Olympics being postponed until next summer increases your chances by any means of being on that broadcasting team?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Totally on the outside looking in. I haven't spoken to anybody at NBC about that in the last couple of weeks, but I think it might.
Oh, you talk about the time, you talk about the investment that it took to get to your level. Coach, we can only hope that someday we will also be at that level. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us here at Blaze Radio. For everyone in the studio, and of course for Nicole and myself, we are the Future is Female. Thank you so much, Coach Herm Edwards.
Thank you.